Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to give you 5 easy beginner tips for your home aquarium so that you may avoid some very common mistakes when it comes to this particular hobby. Now if you like this video, please make sure that you click the like and subscribe button below. It really helps the channel out and I really appreciate it. Now for those of you who do not want to listen to me ramble on in details regarding these tips, no problem, not going to hold you hostage. I'll give you the 5 tips right now. Number 1, get a filter. Number 2, do not overfeed. Number 3, always properly cycle your tank before adding in any fish. Tip number 4, get live plants. And tip number 5, get a decent light. Okay, now you're free to go. For those of you who want a little bit more details, let's get into it. So the first tip, get a filter. This arguably is the most important one because you see the environment that the fish live in, it is their home, but it is also their toilet. They poop and urinate right into the water, and their waste products contains ammonia, which is poisonous, it's toxic. So this chemical ammonia, if it's not broken down in a timely manner, your fish will die. Right? Kind of like what the emperor said to Luke, you will die. Right? Maybe not immediately, right? But eventually the fish will die from ammonia poisoning if you don't get rid of the ammonia in the fish tank. So really essentially they die from their own pee. Not a great way to go, I think. So this is where a filter is really useful. Right? A filter contains nitrifying bacteria. It doesn't come with the nitrifying bacteria, but over time these bacteria will establish colonies and get to a big enough population that they have the ability to convert ammonia to nitrite, and then from nitrite to nitrate. Right? Nitrate at the end is less harmful than nitrite and ammonia. Okay, so there's this conversion process. A filter is also great at circulating water to ensure that there's oxygen in the water for the fish. Now there's many different types of filter that you can get. The 3 most common ones are canister, hang on back, and internal filter. Now in my opinion, canister filters are absolutely amazing. This is really the way to go, but it does depend on your tank size, right? Really anything greater than 10, you can fit in a canister filter, and this is what they look like. I have 2 canisters running right now for my 20-gallon here, and these are the Fluval 306 and 206 in my cabinet. Now some people may argue 2 canisters for 20 gallons a little bit excessive. That's alright. Keeps the water clean. So these canister filters, they tend to be a little bit pricier than the other 2, the hang on back and internal. However, you can really customize what goes into these canister filters. If you want lots of mechanical filtration, that's cool. You want lots of chemical and biological filtration, that's cool too. You can really do whatever you want. And they tend to be very quiet, and they push a lot of volume of water through per hour. Right? So regarding the noise, you can see the filter, you can hear the humming sound, and that's pretty much it. And if you put these canister filters in a cabinet, once you close the door, it's just a low humming sound. You can barely hear it. It's really good. Now these canisters, they can go from $100 to $500. It's a wide range, but if you can spare the budget, I highly recommend you get a canister filter. For the filters that goes on the back of the aquarium, the hang on back or the hop filters, they tend to be a little bit cheaper, $20 to $100, and they're very common in a lot of pet stores. They're kind of like these miniature waterfalls that just hangs onto the back of the aquarium. I don't have one here, but they are very common. They tend to be a little bit louder than the canister filters, right? But they can still be very useful. And the last one is the internal filter. These ones, they just sit inside the aquarium. I don't typically like internal filters because they take up room for the aquarium, and also they're simply an eyesore. Alright, so with that said, get a filter. It'll make your fish feel much better, and guarantee they will live much longer, because no one likes to be covered in their own pee unless you're into that stuff, right? Tip number 2, don't overfeed. Okay? This is an easy one. So fish, they're not really the smartest pets in the world. Right? Where did that frog go? Oh, there he is. Right? So I was talking about fish not being the smartest pets in the world, but they do know how to beg for food. In fact, they are really good at begging for food. So when you see fish swimming back and forth staring at you against the glass, they are indeed begging for food. Now, a really cool thing about the fish anatomy, their stomachs are in fact very small, very tiny. They don't need a whole lot of food. They think they're hungry all the time, but they're really not. Right? So really a little pinch of food, whatever they can eat in a minute, is really more than enough. Anything more, the food will simply sink to the bottom or rot away, contributing to ammonia and nitrite level in the tank. Remember, you want to keep these chemicals levels as low as possible at 0. Okay? So try not to overfeed, even though they do beg for food. Tip number 3, always properly cycle your tank before adding in any fish. Now, what does cycle your tank mean? It simply means allowing enough time for the nitrifying bacteria to grow to a big enough population so that they can consume all the ammonia that's produced by your fish. Right? Always properly cycle your tank before adding in any fish. You don't want them to suffer from ammonia poisoning. Now, there are many different ways to cycle a tank. The traditional way is to simply run the tank empty with no fish at all. Run it for about 2 to 4 weeks, enough time for the bacteria population to grow to a big enough number so that they can consume the ammonia produced. Right? Now, this is of course very time consuming, 2 to 4 weeks without any fish. Right? So there are some products that you can purchase that claims to cycle a tank, a brand new tank, immediately. And these products, they say on the bottle, contains live bacteria. Here's the thing about these products, is that if they are simply sitting in the middle of the store on a shelf with no refrigeration, that's not live bacteria. Live bacteria needs to be refrigerated. They can't just be sitting at room temperature in the middle of a store. Right? So these products need to be refrigerated for really the bacteria to work. They can't be just sitting there. And one last way to cycle a tank is really take some of your old filter material, put it into the new filter, and then run that. You rather than start with 0 bacteria, you now have a little bit to start with, and of course that cuts down on the cycling time. Right. Tip number 4, get live plants. So you see, look at this tank. Look how beautiful that is. We got frog beds, we got java moss, we got some grass on the side, and right in the front here, that's I'm trying to make a carpet of. Right? So having some live plants in the tank gives the tank this nice natural look. It also provides a lot of hiding spaces for the smaller fish, for the shy fish, for baby fish. And also, a lot of plants are absolutely amazing at absorbing nitrates. Right? So I talked about nitrates. They're not as harmful as ammonia and nitrite, but you still want to keep the concentration low. So plants, some of them are really good at absorbing nitrates. For example, the Amazon frog beds up here floating, They're really good at absorbing nitrates. Amazon swords I have in the back, they grow really fast. And the last one, Java moss. These are nearly indestructible. They're sponges for nitrates. There's the little guy. See, these store frogs, they're blind. They know there's food around somewhere, but they can't see, so they just hop all over the place, hoping that food lands in front of their face. But anyways, going back to plants. So, regarding hiding spaces for baby fish, a lot of these fish, guppies, tetras, they're cannibals. Right? I have seen many times that they will give birth and immediately eat their young or eat the eggs of other fish. They are cannibals, so by having lots of plants, lots of hiding space for the baby fish, they'll eventually, hopefully, grow into adult fish. So if you don't want baby fish to become food, get some live plants. And finally, one last tip is get a decent light system. Get a decent LED light. The proper lighting cycle for your fish will make them feel much better, because constantly feeling jet-lagged, it's not a great feeling, right? Also, if you have plants needs light, right? If you get a full spectrum LED, it'll make the plants grow much better. Right? A good lighting system can also give your tank a nice look, allow you to enjoy all your pets just a little bit more. Now, I think I saw a guppy with some ick on his back. It's a type of parasite. Unfortunately, its back is really hard to get rid of. So, it looks like I have to add in a little bit more medicine to this tank. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you click the like and subscribe button. And I will see you in the next one. Have a good one, everybody.